Well, hi everyone. I'm Leela Sharon here, the Minister of Culture, Multiculturalism, and the Status of Women. And recently, you may have seen I did a really wonderful interview with Erica Weed on how to stay healthy at home. As you know, she's a gold medal Olympic winner for wrestling and is also an advocate for us on healthy at home. And she had given us some great tips about staying active and healthy, and also had launched the Healthy at Home Alberta Challenge. And many people took this to heart as we're self-isolating, because we know that it's been tricky on a lot of different levels, on mental health side, on how to cope at home, but also just making sure that you're taking care of yourselves and staying healthy. I've talked to a bunch of people, and I'll be asking them to share some motivational tips and activities and exercises which is really exciting, that Albertans can do to stay active at home as we continue through relaunch. And today I have the most wonderful guest with us, Mark Giordano, who is, of course, as you all know, been a staple player with the Flames since 2006 and captain since 2013. Mark, we know you for your incredible work ethic, really on and off the ice. I've seen you many times in the locker room as well too. I think that we've seen that you haven't slowed down at all, and you and your beautiful wife Lauren have been also doing. I mean, you do a ton of work, a ton of charity work as well too. One of the stories that I'd heard that was really touching was some of the work that you've been doing with getting food to people who are having issues with food security. You launched the team Giordano, right?
Yeah.
With your wife in was that 2014, I think, right?
Yeah.
And so as I understand, that initiative provides, it's not just a food security thing, but you're looking at providing computers and equipment. There's 3 high need schools that you've been working with in specifically, and encouraging not only fitness and healthcare, but also academic excellence as well too, which is phenomenal, because you're also a papa away from the ice and you're juggling a lot of different things like many of us are. And so it's really such a huge privilege to even be able to steal some time from you today. You've been doing a lot of what you call is paying it forward. So I have actually a couple of questions. There's so many things that I could ask you, but one of the things I wanted to ask you about was to talk about the paying it forward a little bit, about why that's important to you. Also, I imagine those kids have a huge impact on you and your wife as well too, and just the way that you view the world, seeing them. But also, just if you could talk to us a little bit about the resilience that you yourself are with your family, how you've been promoting that, how you're staying healthy at home.
First off, thank you for all those kind words, obviously. But no, I just think I grew up here in Calgary, and what a great city and community. I've learned so much growing up. I feel like this is my home and I've grown up here, and I feel an obligation, honestly, to give back to the community because it's done so much for me in my life and my career and my family. So I love the people. I'll say this, I've never been, I've lived in a few different places in my life. I've never been in a place where people are so willing to help each other out when they're in need. And yeah, like you said, in this time, especially in this time with the COVID virus going, I feel like there's people who are struggling and have been out of work, and you know, there's little ways you can help that go a long way. And my wife and I have found some Facebook groups who've helped out, and with groceries, like you said, and supplies and stuff like that. And then our school program's been great, and like you said, it's not just a specific program that just does one thing. I think we're specific to every school. So different schools have different needs. We talk with the principals and superintendents and all that, and we've identified, you know, one school did need a sport court and gym equipment, but other schools needed laptops and library books and stuff like that. So no, I mean, just going back, I think it's an important time to sort of be resilient and reflect, like you said, and help each other out in this time of need. I think it's an obligation to people who can help to do that, and it's really important. And you're seeing a lot of good things going on. I know it's a tough time for our city, our country, the world, but you're seeing a ton of good things going on because of this, and hopefully that'll keep going.
Yeah, there's a lot of everyday heroes out there, aren't there? And it's amazing to see. I think somebody like you with what you bring, just in terms of the value that you have, because I mean, you're a celebrity too, by nature of the work that you do and who you are. But when you are able to transform that into inspirational work on the ground for the grassroots people that are, per capita, this is the most generous province probably in the world.
Yeah.
And even at this time, I don't know if you noticed, Mark, but we actually did a campaign in government with United Way and some other organizations to fundraise to help with vulnerable Albertans through COVID response. It was unbelievable how fast people came forward. Even now, not having discretionary funds, having their own issues and dealing with that, it was unbelievable. So I think what we're hoping for through these discussions is not only to see, for them to be able to have a chance to talk with their hero, somebody like you, but also to understand what they can do, but also from a mental perspective and a health perspective. Can you talk a little bit about maybe some of the routines that you're doing and how you're keeping yourself healthy? Because part of this is about also seeing how does the Giordano family deal with this on a day-to-day basis? What are you doing to keep yourself healthy physically and mentally?
Yeah, well, I think, like you said, routine is so important. So what I try to do is set a routine for my family. So I get up in the morning and the number one thing for me is I get up and I try and get up before everyone's sort of out and about it, around the house. Try and get a workout in, try and physically get that sweat, get that feel good feeling about yourself going early in the morning. But then we have things like our son Jack is in grade 1. He has to do his online school. My wife has been unbelievable. She's taken a lot of that load, and it's tough. It's when this first happened, I thought it might be a half hour to an hour thing daily. It's not. It's 2, 3, 4 hours most days, and so a lot of us parents have transformed into teachers, and we really appreciate them for all the work that they do. We have a better understanding of what they go through on a day-to-day, but no, I think so. We get through the day. We try and get our workouts in the morning, get Jack through school. We have our 2-year-old daughter who's just busy all day too. And yeah, I mean, it's tough to have a 7-year-old in grade 1 online while your 2-year-old's just buzzing around in the background and trying to bother him every chance she gets. But we do that. And then, we try to make a point of going for a nice long walk as a family. I think that's safe. I think so you can social distance and stay away and still go for those nice walks, get outside, enjoy outdoors. And then spend, most of our evening, we're either in the backyard, having dinner back there if it's nice enough. One of the things that is, we're home a lot more, or I'm home a lot more, so we can really have those dinners together as a family and get that time. So there are, there are benefits with this. I know it's tough to be inside all the time and socially distancing from all your friends, but there are benefits to being together with your family for, this amount of time.
Oh, for sure. When you were talking about having the kids, so my kids are 21 and 23, but I've been on a lot of Zoom conversations where like cars have gone around heads and boats in the background. One streaker, that was real fun.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So those are the kinds of things that happen. I know we're all coping with a lot of different things at home. I have to say, one thing you and I have in common, you probably didn't know, I'm a huge Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan.
Oh,
and
wow.
I saw a picture of you. I think you were dressed up as Shredder, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
A few years back, right?
Yeah, I was the Shredder. Jack was Donatello for
That's
Halloween,
right.
and I was the Shredder, yeah.
That's right. Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of, and the reason I even bring that up is because physical activity doesn't have to necessarily just be a particular routine. Sometimes it's just playing with your kids, right? Being able to get out. We do a lot of, with the rain and some of the fire bans, we haven't been obviously able to have a fire, but I live in Chestermere, so we love having fire pits and being able to do all of that. So, and we do a lot of music in my household, so we bring out the guitars and sing around the fire pit all the time. But I was going to say that you were talking about the physical distancing and getting outside. There's a lot of fear, right? The premier always says, and it's when you're scared and there is a reason to rally the forces like Alberta did to be able to stop COVID in its tracks, that's a fairly straightforward message. Like, stay home, stay safe, wash your hands, keep clean, keep your hygiene, all of those messages, I think is translated fairly quickly. But reopening and
Yeah.
relaunching and getting rid of that fear, I mean, our kids are feeling it, right?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, what's COVID? Like, it's this terrifying, evil, invisible creature, right? So how are you I mean, obviously you get outside, but do you have any wisdom to share with families, young families and stuff, with helping their kids understand that there's a light at the end of this tunnel of COVID? Like, how do we come out of our homes from this? How do we get outside?
Yeah, well, I think there's no real great answer for that, because it is scary. It is, and I think turning on the news every day is scary. I mean, one day it's real positive, one day it could go the other way. But I will say, I think what we can say about us in Calgary here is we've done a great job, and I think the numbers reflect that. And I think our government, our mayor, our leaders in our community have done such a great job of informing us of what to do and what not to do. But there is that certain point, and I think we're getting to that point where we're going to have to go outside again, and stores are going to be opening again, and there's going to be that little hesitation, I think, between people. But all we can do really is listen to the advice, be safe, wash your hands, do all the things that they tell us to do. If they tell us to wear masks, we have to do that. Mm-hmm. But at some point, we're going to get back to normal life. Our system's been handled this great. I think Alberta's and Calgary has done a great job. The leadership that we've received from government here and telling us what to do is great. And I don't know how to answer that. I don't know how that fear is going to go away, because it's still there for all of us. I think I think about it every day. I think you think about it every time you go out or you touch something now. It's in the back of your mind. Yeah. And it's basically going to change the way we live going forward, to be honest. And I think we just have to, once you can get your mind around that we just have to learn that this is the new normal. It's going to be like that for the foreseeable future in my mind. And but we're a pretty resilient group of people here in Calgary and in the world, and we'll learn to deal with this for sure.
Well, actually, you did answer the question, because that's how I feel about it too, is that you can only control what you can control. Right. Yeah. And some of that is about hygiene. And I mean, the things that we've learned from this aren't necessarily bad things. I think that we will come out of this a lot more resilient, reflective group of people. We do a lot of grad videos right now and talking about graduating under the COVID mechanism, and that should not define you. Should never define this year by any stretch. All of the years that you put into the things that you do shouldn't be defined by this moment. And stepping out into the world is going to be very courageous for a lot of people. There's a lot of anxiety. Yeah. And so as they see people like yourselves outside and others, I think you will lead by example through that. Mm-hmm. And I think that's probably the most important thing. And I think too, because I mean, a huge theme in your life is community. So you're not getting your people fix either. I know for me that one of the most traumatic things in my life, I'm a hugger. I hug everybody. Yeah. So it's been very traumatic for me not to be able to put my arms around people. And so, in terms of your philosophy around community, how are you sort of reconciling your need to be out in community and participate with the restrictions, and then again coming back into life? How's your philosophy changed around that?
Yeah, well, like you said, hugging, shaking hands, those are all things of the past now. But I will say, what we're doing right now, social media, being able to FaceTime with each other, being able to connect that way, is really important, and really something that we shouldn't take for granted, because 20, 30 years ago, we wouldn't be able to FaceTime or Zoom chat with each other and be connected. And I think as weird as this time is, and it's really weird, we still can connect. And I've been able to keep in touch with all my teammates. I've been able to keep in touch with a lot of family members. And I think this is going to be the way that we're connecting for the next little bit here. I think, it's always nice to show someone your love by giving them a hug or a handshake or putting your arm around someone. But we just have to learn that that's not going to happen for the next little bit. And hopefully we get through it. And then whether it be a vaccine or medication or something to treat this comes out, and we can get back to normal. But I will say, I think people have done a great job in handling this with different, different forms of social media or FaceTimes or Zooms. And I think it's been, people have stayed pretty connected throughout this.
Yeah. Oh, and I imagine, and so are your conversations, like, is there a lot of anxiety amongst the team members and family as well too, or how are they all doing? How are they managing through all of this?
Yeah, you know what, I think more at the start, it was tough, right? We didn't know what was going on, how to act, how to treat this, how long it was going to last. And I think lately it's become more clear that we're dealing with it pretty well around the world. And I think people are seeing that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, to say, right?
Yes.
I think there's an end game. So yeah, I think there's, like you said, like we were talking about before, there's still going to be that fear. It's normal. It's a normal human reaction. And like you said, if people see community figures out there more and more and get more and more comfortable, I think it'll go a long way.
For sure. So do you have any like tips to share with us about staying home and staying active and staying healthy? Any particular exercises that people can do at home? Because obviously gyms are shut down for right now. We're hoping to see that relaunch here fairly quickly. What are the Giordano style home exercises that we can share with the folks that are going to be watching this?
Yeah, I think the best feel-good exercises are cardio, where you sweat and you get a good sweat on. You always feel good about yourself after that. So I try to do a lot of cardio in this time. Obviously, there's not a lot of people don't have weights or dumbbells at their house, so you have to do a lot of body weight circuit stuff, which is really good stuff. And getting that sweat on really makes you feel good about yourself. But I will say, if I had to say one exercise that incorporates everything and is a real good strength, cardio, everything exercise, would be the burpee. And I've done a ton of burpees. They're very hard, but incorporates a squat, a push-up, a jump, and a lot of cardio. So I would say stuff like burpees are really good. Put a lot of push-ups, a lot of planking for me. Those go a long way because those are body weight exercises that create a lot of strength and stability. So, but if I had to pick one exercise that is puts everything into one that everyone should be doing, I would say the burpee is the best one.
Oh boy, that's a challenge. Okay, burpees it is.
Yeah.
And I promise I will do burpees. I love push-ups and core for sure.
Yeah.
Burpees is going to take some mental ability on my part to put that together, especially coordination. So yeah, maybe if you have a moment, you can, with your family, do a family burpee video. That would be awesome.
I will do that.
Okay.
For sure.
Yay. Okay, cool. And I promise I will do it with a smile on my face. Is there any final closing comments that you have for us, Mark? We're just, again, thank you for your time today.
No, thank you guys for having me. I just think, I think people should be positive now. I think we've done a great job, especially as a community here in Calgary. I think we have to give a ton of credit to the frontline workers. I think they've sacrificed so much during this time. So want to give a ton of credit to them. And I think we have to just keep going. I think now's not the time just to absolutely forget about everything. We have to still stay safe, but it's going in a great direction, a positive direction. And I think we should all be thankful for that.
I agree with you completely. And thank you to all Albertans. The reason why we've been able to bend the curve is because Albertans have been so responsive to the information that has been given to them. Like, serious kudos to everybody out there. And now we just have to put a wall of protection around our vulnerable communities and make sure that we understand how to function in congregated spaces so that we can, because both of the work that we all do, we're in these large congregated areas. And so we got to figure out how to manage in that. So here's hoping that we'll see some hockey here in the next little while for sure. But mostly, Mark, to you and Lauren and your family, thank you for the immense amount of work you do, for being such inspirational people outside of obviously what you do on the ice. But we're really, it's a real pleasure being able to chat with you and letting us into your family a little bit, into your insight, and for giving so much inspiration to Albertans. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. And thanks for having me, for sure.